I can't. No. This one.
The cedars of God have stood tall, watching kingdoms rise and fall, like the women of Lebanon that have endured many wars, radiating resilience and symbolizing strength. They are known to be the voice of our revolutions, unapologetically interpreting the calls of our nation. We can see this through not only words, but acts of true power and perseverance. We want to share the story of one of those cedars and her rise to the top of the mountain. This is the story of Joyce Azzam. Good morning. I am here in the Cedars of God in the mountains of Lebanon. I'm meeting up with Joyce Azzam, the one and only Lebanese woman that has climbed the highest 7 summits of the world. She made history for Lebanon by climbing Mount Everest in May of 2019. I will be interviewing her here in her element as we walk through these mountains to learn more about the passion and commitment that led this Lebanese on her path to become a role model for women worldwide. Surrounded by this breathtaking beauty, I will be spending the day with Joyce Azzam.
وبعضنا عنا زرع ولدنا زرع وعندنا غوبة مؤسسة سنة 1950 وبعضنا مستمرين زرع.
بس رواق كتير وحلو كتير هون. Cedars of God. This is where it all started, huh?
Yes. Actually, this place I come every morning to meditate. It's very peaceful because I live just 15 minutes walking distance from the forest of the Cedars of God, which is a UNESCO heritage site.
Okay.
Look at this tree. It's 2,000 years old. 2,000 years old. They witnessed everything, you know?
Yeah.
And they are still here, majestic.
Wow.
And
Let's talk about the difference between these mountains, the Lebanese mountains, and the other mountains that you have climbed.
Lebanese mountains are like, my first love. You have always a special thing for your first love.
Sure.
And even if you fell in love again and again in life, you come back and you think you have these special memories, very particular. And this is the relationship for me with the Lebanese mountains. This is where I started. This is where I fell in love with the mountains and nature. And even I discovered my passion, because I didn't have a dream, I didn't have a passion, I didn't know that I'm gonna be so even good and strong in climbing. So all of this started here. So it has a very
you
special.
found yourself. You found your
Yes,
passion here.
yes.
This is really great. I know you've climbed the seven highest mountains in the world, and now you are on a new journey, or a new adventure.
Yes.
Tell me about that. What is your new challenge?
So back in 2016, while climbing the seven summits, I had as a goal, my dream was to climb the highest mountain on each continent. It's such a big dream, I accomplished this in 2019, May 2019, when I stood on the top of the world. But back in 2016, I discovered there's much more than the seven summits. There is something called the Explorer's Grand Slam. Well, I already started training.
Yes.
So I started seriously training for sure during all this turmoil that we went through starting from March, with the COVID-19 and then Beirut explosion and all what's happening. For sure, it interrupted my training, to be honest. But with determination, I kept on it. Even if I did a little bit less, but slowly but surely, I am keeping my training on. Now I am really going seriously on it, and you saw me pulling those
I
tires.
saw that.
And
That's
this
hard.
This is very hard, especially I go, towards.
You go like that.
Yeah, the,
Okay.
the highest summit in Lebanon, Ernit Sauda, going uphill with these tires. It's really hard. When I was in my 20s, a group of my friends, I was in my second year studying architecture, invited me for a hiking trip. As simple as that. I had no connection, no idea about mountains, nature, forest, trails, hiking boots, hiking, like everything related to hiking. I had no idea.
But you went anyways.
I went anyway.
Okay.
I went anyway out of curiosity. I was maybe searching for a new, because studying architecture is very stressful.
Yes.
Very stressful. We had these long nights without sleeping. So I was searching for a new hobby. After around a year, I remember very well standing on top of Lebanon, Ernit Sauda, at 3,088 meters. I felt a sense of achievement inside of me that I never experienced before. From the weak survivor, war survivor, this girl that,
Vulnerable maybe?
vulnerable, bullied when she was in her teenager, and all this and I didn't have confidence in my, potential and skills and where I can, what I can be. I didn't have even an idea.
So at that moment, you felt confident?
Yes.
You felt good?
Yes. And I felt like this achievement is for me and nobody can take it. Nobody can take it. This is mine,
What a great feeling.
And like I wanted to feel this way more and more, and this sense of achievement took me on a journey to discover new mountains around the world, and especially when I won my scholarship to do my PhD and before that my master's degree in Italy at La Sapienza University in Rome. I was closer to the Alps. And this is where I learned all the techniques, like how to use a crampon. Because in the Alps you can climb 4,000 meters mountains, and you have glaciers. So the techniques are different, and you will need to learn how to use the ropes and how to use the crampons and the ice axe. Every mountain I climbed, every mountain taught me a lesson. What I really fear is not controlling my fear when I'm on the mountain. Worrying would kill everything. And on the mountain, you need to be living the moment. On a mountain, there's no man or woman. There's a mountaineer.
I can't have this. This one? But I can. No.
On Joyce's journey to Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain and the highest altitude of 8,848 meters, a climb that acts as a guiding compass to mountaineers' optimal dream. This scale needs mental and physical strength at the high probability of encountering persistent fear crossing the death zone as one of many tipping points for these powerful climbers. Joyce shares her experience.
Everest is the ultimate dream of every mountaineer, and it was also mine. So it's a mix of excitement and fear. Sometimes I went through, I was super nervous, especially when I was going from base camp, Everest base camp at 5,400 meters to the higher camps, to 6,400 meters, camp 2. And when you go higher, at camp 3 at 7,200 meters, this is where you start using oxygen. And I was super scared and nervous because I never used this technique. So the difference between Everest and other mountains I climb is the length of the expedition, 2 months on the mountain. 2 months you are not in real contact with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends. You are outside of your comfort zone. So how are you gonna deal with this? Not physically, because physically I was super ready, but it's about how you gonna be ready mentally. So like, and plus I never been to such high altitude. I mean, we're going to 8,000 meters to the death zone, and this in itself, like when they tell you we're going to the South Col, which is the last camp 4 at 8,000 meters, and it is, you know, also known as the death zone. While I was going to the summit, and that's it, this is my dream, I'm closer to it. On the summit night, I left my camp at 9:45 p.m. I left the camp, it was dark outside. And I remember very well all the mountaineers around you preparing themselves, you know, the last preparation, that's it. You worked so hard for 51, 52 days, and you're going to your goal. And we started, you know, like hiking up, like climbing up actually. And at some point, I saw a woman lying on the floor. And my first reaction was going to my Sherpa, and he's my, you know, he was my climbing partner on Everest. And I was like, KB, look, there's a woman, we should help her. And we were on traffic. That night there was a lot of people. KB told me, she's dead, Joyce. But she just lost her life here. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to continue? Is it worth it to lose my own life? I will not be able to see my family anymore, my beloved ones. Is it worth it? And this is the moment where your experience, you know, just kicks in. And I remember here the words of my coach, who's my brother George. He said, Joyce, you climbed all these mountains for the last 12 years. Just for this moment, you are ready. So I started remembering this, like, yes, Joyce, you are ready for it. You are experienced, you're still breathing, you have to continue. But what happened in all these moments, and I'm at 8,300 meters around, and I'm on oxygen for sure, like extra oxygen, I was going into a panic attack and I wasn't aware of it. So I was breathing heavily because for sure this encounter with this woman who lost her life there on the mountain, like while, you know, like working for her dream, maybe it reminded me of my childhood where I saw, since, you know, I was 4, 5, 6 years old, people dying around me. It triggered a trauma somewhere, somehow, and I couldn't control the panic attack. And we had to continue. We are on a traffic, we had to continue. You cannot go back. I couldn't even be aware of what's happening with me. But apparently, I finished my bottle of oxygen. I cannot breathe anymore because I'm out of oxygen. It's like the natural thing gonna happen. But that, like, I remember very well, I closed my eyes and it was the same feeling when I would sit in the ice bath in my training for the past 2 years. When I started this training, I thought it's just to get used to cold. But when I was sitting in the ice bath in the city, I was putting my body in extreme conditions. Ease your breath, make it relax, and it worked. I released my breath at 8,400 meters, and I started to breathe the 20% of oxygen that I had, but I, survived on it until my Sherpa gave me the new bottle of oxygen. I relaxed for another 10-15 minutes, and I just continued. And after 3 hours of hard work and pushing towards my dream and praying, and I remember I saw like the most beautiful sunrise in the world. I stepped on the top of the world and raised the Lebanese flag, and I was the first Lebanese woman to climb Everest and all the 7 summits.
أنا على قمة إيفرست، على قمة بالعالم. بدي أشكر كل لبناني دعمني، أعطاني من محبته. أنا بوسكن، أنا وصلت على القمة.
You know, Joyce, our childhood experiences make us who we are. And do you think your childhood played a role in your resilience, your commitment to climb a mountain after another?
Well, the first 6 years of my life were just fleeing from place to another and living in a bunker and just chaos and fear. And it was all because of the Lebanese civil war. And later on, growing up, I really suffered from bullying because I was born with a syndrome. Maybe I didn't talk a lot about this because I was really good in hiding it because I was bullied about it. And it's hypermobility syndrome, where my joints are super flexible, so my knee would go backward. And I was really bullied by my friends at school and, you know, called as an alien, and in Lebanese, farkashe, you know, it's not like an unstable person in a way, or not physically. So it really hurt me, and it's hard. I was crying. It made me slide into anxiety, depression at the age of 12 years old. And at some point, the mountains entered my life and started to, you know, took me on a healing journey. And this is why I always say mountains are my mentors. They taught me to be strong, to be more confident, to trust myself. If you ask Joyce when she was 15, or even you would tell her now, Joyce, you're gonna climb the 7 summits, you're gonna stand on top of the world, she would never believe you. Because Joyce, when she was 15, she was 10, she never saw her potential. She never believed in her potential. And this is the change I made in my own life. And today I feel I'm on a mission, you know. I have a voice and I want to use it. I want to use it to empower other children to protect their dreams and believe in their potential and their skills, not to feel scared. So today I'm a child protection advocate with Himaya NGO. And what they do, they really help abused kids, and they also work on the awareness from abuse. We are talking about psychological abuse, physical and sexual abuse. And our day came to its end. Unfortunately, I spent really an amazing day with your company. But now I have a question for you. How, how was your day, the adventure, the hike? Tell me about your experience.
First of all, it's been a pleasure to have spent the day with you. I've learned so much from you in such a short time. It's only like one day, but I got to experience the morning in the mountain and the nighttime, and look at this fire and look at this beauty. It is so peaceful and serene. And I really enjoyed it, and I would do it again for sure.
Yes! To every woman out there, the mountains taught me there's no man or woman, there's just a mountaineer. And in life, there's just a dreamer who is destined to accomplish his dream.
Resilience, perseverance, and a dream made this mountaineer serve the challenging elements of nature, becoming the ultimate conductor of her instrumental climb, maneuvering friction tactically and harmonizing with what she loves the most. Find harmony in what you love.